Last time on Bayonetta.
Bayonetta.
So close, bro. Bayonetta's strong as f. What the hell? What the f? Excuse me? Why into the... Oh. And now this time on Bayonetta. A fucking highway.
Here we go. Feeling good.
This level's theme is pretty cool. We're fighting angels on top of these moving cars. You have to platform between these cars as well to reach the other angels, and my dumbass just kept falling off. Overall, this first part is pretty fun though, but that can't be said for this second section. In this part, we have to fight 3 versions of Joy, and along with Joy being very fast, there's also just random How does this game expect me to fight 3 different angels and avoid cars at the same time? Most of the times, the cars just come from off screen and feel very cheap to get hit by. But yeah, whatever, now that we're done with that, we get introduced to an angel that is no joke a car, and this begins one of the low points of this game, unfortunately. This is the motorcycle section, very bland in gameplay compared to the rest of the game. All you do is hold X to shoot and drift around obstacles in basically an auto running segment. Now the gameplay itself, while dull, isn't really the main problem. It's just the level is too fucking long. I don't understand why they would make this section around 10 minutes long in itself, especially when the core gameplay is so limited compared to the rest of the game. To make it worse too, sometimes the later half of this section just doesn't work. What the fuck? Bro, okay, that one was kind of my fault, but when the level was so long and boring, you can understand my frustration. Thankfully, this level does end with a pretty fast-paced fight against these angels before Bayonetta falls back into Paradiso. So now we're in Paradiso. This part is really cool. It basically takes place in set pieces we've seen before in the game. There's tons of little secrets in this area, including another gate to the Owl theme. This one is pretty fun. It uses the out-of-body mechanic, basically making this point on the map the main focus for the angels and you have to defend it. Now for the main level, it's typical Bayo gameplay. You run around beating the fuck out of everything until this big-ass bull starts chasing us. I really like this section. You have to run down a downward spiral while avoiding the bulls, enemies, and this thunder mechanic. It's a really fun section and it keeps you on your toes the entire time. Now the next section is cruel and unforgiving. F you Platinum Games. Basically, you have to collect fragments of this broken key while getting jumped by dog enemies, claw enemies, and try not to get pancaked by this stupid fucking bull. No, seriously, why are we fighting a bull? It comes out of nowhere. It doesn't look like the rest of the angels. What is this thing? That of fucking shit. And to make this level even more confusing, we are fighting ships now. I need whatever Hideki's on because we fought a car, a bull, and now a whole ship. Okay, so after a few more areas, we finally get to fight this big bull motherfucker. He's basically a shape-shifting robot, which makes him extremely unpredictable to fight against. On top of him changing forms all the times, he's very fast and you can only attack him in one spot, this big red orb in the middle. It's actually quite a challenging fight and it feels quite rewarding to win in the end, and it has the best climax scene in the whole game. Well, that's it for that chapter. We didn't die once, did we, as well? We're actually gonna get a decent rank, and it's silver. Are you serious? I was proud of myself, and then I get silver. So chapter 10 starts pleasantly with tentacles, and Joy is here. You know, being the shout of Joy is really enjoyable. Yeah, you guys can unsubscribe for that one. Actually, why am I talking like any of you are subscribed? I'm not one to beg for subs, but 90% non-subscribed watch time. Am I not good enough for you guys? These guys look a little different. Oh, and you don't get witch time. Oh, you don't get witch... Yeah, you heard me right. No witch time. These are just souped up versions of the claw enemies here to torture you and make you want to kill yourself. Not only do we not get to use witch time anymore, these two themselves are less distinguishable, so it's harder to tell who's the powerful one and who's the speedy one. Also, I'm pretty sure that these guys are just faster than the other versions by default. Just as I was starting to like you guys, why did you have to turn on me like this? You know what? I don't want to be here no more. Take me back to the real world. Okay, so here's what I think is my least favorite boss fight in the entire game. So for the first phase, it's a mix of avoiding these tentacle things, the weird plant thing he spits out, and his massive head that he slams you with. Several of these attacks feel really cheap to get hit by compared to other attacks in this game. Once you do enough damage, you get to run up one of his heads, and then Bayonetta proceeds to do... well, whatever the fuck that was. Like the other fights in the game, we gotta do this pattern one more time before reaching the final phase where he goes absolutely bonkers and turns his bullshit meter up to 1,000. You know what, fuck this guy, Bayonetta, do what you do best. Ah, I cannot, my fingers hurt, I cannot. I don't know how people do that.
Mummy is a witch, and witches protect people and are very strong. When I grow up, I'll be strong too, and I'll protect my mummy.
Wait, you think witches do what? Oh, forget it. No point in arguing with a little kid. I'll manage on my own.
I'm sure you will.
You sure you don't want to do another take on that? He just watched a child roll off a plane and his response is a stoic. Okay, so here's another Jean fight. It's pretty good. You know, I've run out of things to say about these fights. It's just as fun as the other ones, but what makes this one slightly more unique is that she pulls out a motorcycle halfway through. You know what, as cool as attacking someone with a motorcycle is, it is the easiest part of any fight in this game. Anyways, after we beat her, the rest of the level was extremely short. We rescue Bayonetta, we get introduced to more flying enemies, which I hate, and we kind of get a unique electric mechanic, but other than that, standard Bayo stuff. I really like this next boss. This fight is one of the most unique ones in the game. We are surfing during a thunderstorm while fighting this massive ass angel. Yeah, you can't tell me that's not cool. To damage him, you need to get up close and do enough damage to his legs to break them. He's not always vulnerable though. He has these attack phases where you have to avoid him chomping you up while surfing. Now when you do enough damage, you enter these really unique climax sections where instead of just ripping him apart, you have to guide him into your summons for big damage. I like this section, it's fun and it keeps the game fresh. The final phase for this fight takes place in a whirlpool where you need to avoid these lasers and get close enough to deal enough damage. The climax scene is... oof. Oh, that is disgusting. So you guys ready for the worst level in the entire game? So hey, remember the motorcycle level from earlier? Take everything bad about that and multiply it by 1 billion. This chapter takes place on this dumbass rocket the entire time and I have some fucking problems with this level. First, the gameplay itself is so bare bones. You hold X to shoot the entire time. Oh wait, my bad, sorry. You press B occasionally to launch a missile. Second, why is the dodge so fucking disorienting? Are you trying to give me motion sickness? Why does the entire screen have to rotate fully when you dodge? And you're going to be dodging a lot in this level. And third, stop me if this sounds familiar, it's too fucking long. This level has you fight 3 different mini bosses, each with the most boring mechanics ever implemented into a game. There's one of these fights in particular where you just have to spam dodge for 90% of it because you don't build up enough damage over time. All of these fights last at least 2 minutes on their own as well, which drags out the level time exponentially. The only redeeming part of this level is the 2D sections where you fight the angels in a 2D perspective. Now thankfully, once you get past this stupid ass rocket section, the rest of the level is pretty cool. So now we get to face one of my favorite bosses of all time. Here we fight Jean for the final time and everything in this fight is turned up to 11. Like look at this, the building starts breaking apart and then we get the true reveal of her costume. Like, ooh, the all white fit goes so hard. This fight, on top of just being fun in general, has a ton of things going on. Like look at this, the most fucked up game of catch ever. Then after all of that, we get to ride on a rocket as well, like oh my god. Now one thing that is weird about these fights in general is the counter mechanic. One thing you can do, and what I recommend, is to just avoid these overall, just dodge through them and you get witch time. Like using the witch time here is so much easier than doing the actual sections itself. There's a bit of backwards game design there. But yeah, other than that, really fun fight. So after beating her, we get a pretty sad farewell from her.
Stand and open your eyes, for with every truth, there is another one to be seen.
Okay, so now we're in the final stretch of the game. This final chapter is basically a gauntlet as we climb to the top of this tower. There's a plethora of enemies here. You got the dogs, the shield guys but on fire, you... Okay, all of these encounters are completely fine up until you get to here. These motherfuckers did it again. They created another overly long section that's about 1,000 times worse than the actual gameplay for no reason. Listen, I'm all for breaking up your gameplay to keep it fresh, especially in this genre, but this game already does this well with these crazy set pieces and shit. So having this here just feels annoyingly slow. This time we have to spam X to shoot these cannibals at this guy over and over and over again. Oh, my bad, sorry. This section keeps you on your toes by constantly spamming you with angel constantly spamming you with angel heads flying towards you over and over again. Oh, and sorry, at one point he breaks one of the cannons. Real cool. This genuinely might be one of the worst encounters in the entire game, but whatever. The rest of the level is just heavy platforming with occasional encounters with other bosses, but that's it really. So are you ready for the most convoluted cutscene slash plot twist slash reveal ever? I'll try to explain this one the best I can. So basically for the entire game we've had this man over here whispering in our ear, basically telling Bayonetta that he's her father and wants to guide her through the world. This man is a Lumen sage named Boulder, and yeah, he's actually Bayo's dad. Lumen sages are basically the counterpart of Umbran witches, and these guys both exist at the same time to keep the balance of the universe or something. Both clans possess one of the eyes of the world. Both eyes are needed to summon something called Jubileus. Boulder has one of the eyes while Bayonetta has the other one. So basically everything that's happened in this game is just an elaborate plot to lure Bayonetta here so we can have both of the eyes. So to explain Mini Netta over here, yeah, I got nothing. What I do know, however, if she's calling Boulder father while also calling Bayonetta mother, then what the f? Let's just go back to gameplay. This is one kind of weird boss fight. He spends most of his time far away from us using summons or magic to attack us. And then when he does get close, one witch time at a combo shred. Oh look, we can climax already. Oh, yeah, this guy is the first in the game to straight up destroy Bayonetta's summons. What an evil ass father. This isn't even enough for this motherfucker either. He throws an entire building at us, gets a satellite to shoot a death ray at us, crashes a whole satellite into us, and forces us to play the worst game of catch ever. Like, we are related by blood. Is it ever that serious? Now, one thing I need to mention about this fight is the music. Pure orchestral grandness right here. Now to round off this fight is possibly the most iconic line from the game, so here we go.
Don't fuck with a witch.
We shoot this guy in the head and he's still talking. So yeah, after all of that, Bayonetta starts to explode or something. I don't really know what happened here. Okay, she didn't actually explode. She became one of the eyes for Jubileus. Luckily, Jean is still alive and here to save the day and rescue Bayonetta. Basically, the reason she was attacking us this entire game was because she was mind controlled by Boulder over here. Thankfully, she has snapped out of it and she's ready to redeem herself. I say redeem herself, but the motorcycle's back. Thankfully, this section is nowhere near as bad and is way more fun and fast paced than the OG section. We gotta make our way up this rocket as fast as we can before it's too late, taking us all the way to outer space. The last section is even cooler because we gotta avoid meteors now while running up a statue. After we make it there, we actually rescue Bayonetta, but it still isn't enough as Jubileus is still summoned. So it's finally time to fight Jubileus, the final boss in this game. You'd think since she's an all-powerful god that she'd have some crazy over-the-top attacks and some crazy magic or spells or some shit, right? Nope, she just punches the f*** out of you. Okay, well, she has elemental powers too. She can change the entire environment to fire, which is a pretty fun section. Ice, which is, Ow. Ow. They are jumping me. Stop! Stop! I can't! That's not fair! I can't do anything! I'm stuck in limbo! Stop! That was not my fault. I couldn't do anything. And the thunderstorm, which requires you to jump between platforms, and the jump prompts just sometimes don't work, but other than that, it's pretty fun. Now, one thing I want to say about this final boss, as fun as it is, it's just not that difficult. Like, the Jean fight we had before was harder. Now, even if the difficulty is a bit underwhelming, the sheer amount of f***ery that happens in this fight makes up for it. Like, look at this. She turned us into a child. Now yeah, like I said, this boss is very easy, but the climax scene at least is very cool. Oh, climax time, let's go. Dodged. Guys, oh my god, the claws are so broken. Oh my god. And if that wasn't cool enough, we have to throw her into the sun. This takes quite a while, by the way, so I'm just gonna speed this up.
Unbelievable. We managed to stop this abomination, and it's still going to destroy the world.
John!
Come now. You're one of a kind. If you die here, who's going to save the world? I'll send you home, even if it kills me. Now, let's finish this.
You and I are going home together. John, we're both one of a kind.
Now those are the eyes I've been waiting to see.
Oh yeah, we still aren't done. So even after crashing into the sun, it's revealed that Jubilee still isn't dead. So to save the planet, we basically need to break her apart limb by limb. But yeah, after we do that, that's basically it for this game. The world is saved and everyone starts emoting for some reason. Now while they're emoting, now's a great time to give my final thoughts on this game. It's really fucking good. Now it does fall apart a bit near the end, you know, with the motorcycle section, the rocket and that weird cannon guy, but other than that, it's a pretty good and consistent experience. The combat in this game is one of the best I've ever seen. The soundtrack is also amazing. Honestly, I enjoy almost every part of this game, and if you haven't played it, I urge you to play it right now. It'll be worth your time. And we're not even done yet. Yeah, there's more to this game. Once you beat the normal mode, hard mode is unlocked. Enemies pack more of a punch and are faster. The enemy variety is cranked up too, and yeah, we're not playing that.